stories you are about to see are real. The rewards up to $5 million are real. This is Crime Reports and Rewards with Griff Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous, the criminals don't. I'm Dave Michaels with this week's edition of Spot Crime, where we highlight crimes reported in the CSRA. We've had 71 assaults around the CSRA. They took place on the 100 block of Majourn Court, the 400 block of Broad Street, the 3500 block of the Mike Paget Highway, the 1800 block of Jenkins Street, the 2800 block of Lake Michigan Drive, the 2700 block of Woodcrest Drive, the 400 block of Hale Street, the 1800 block of Formosa Drive, the 1700 block of Holden Court, the 2000 block of Lumpkin Road, the 1800 block of Apple Valley Drive, the 2700 block of Woodcrest Drive, the 2900 block of River West Drive, the 3600 block of North Madrid Drive, the 3600 block of Bel Air Road, the 1900 block of McGordon Highway, the 1500 block of South Atlantic Drive, the 3600 block of London Boulevard, the 600 block of Moore Avenue, the 2000 block of Lamar Road, the 3600 block of Walton Way Extension, the 2700 block of West Antler Drive, the 2500 block of East Kennington Drive, the 3600 block of Meadow Grove Drive, the 2400 block of Winston Way, the 3500 block of Mercedes Drive, the 2400 block of Lesman Court, the 1200 block of Ellis Street, the 600 block of East Boundary, the 3900 block of Deansbridge Road, the 3800 block of Crest Drive, the 1900 block of Lionel Street, the 2800 block of Washington Road, the 2200 block of Southgate Drive, the 2800 block of Wheeler Road, the 1000 block of 10th Avenue, the 1900 block of Old Savannah Road, the 2000 block of First Avenue, the 1700 block of Marvin Griffin Road, the 2900 block of Shadow Ridge Drive, the 1800 block of Fairview Avenue, the 3000 block of Story Drive, the 3500 block of Winsmere Drive, the 3600 block of Wheeler Road, the 2900 block of Gahal Way, the 1500 block of Floyd Street, the 4000 block of Woods Road, the 4500 block of Windsor Springs Road, the 1100 block of Bertrand Court, the 1400 block of Windsor Springs Road, the 3000 block of Camp Josie Road, the 2700 block of Brenda Court, the 1300 block of New Savannah Road, the 1400 block of Tobis Court, the 2700 block of Tobacco Road, the 2400 block of Cross Creek Road, the 3300 block of Saddlebrook Drive, the 2400 block of Amsterdam Drive, the 2900 block of Mock Street, the 900 block of Walton Way, the 2300 block of Old McDuffie Road, the 2600 block of Deansbridge Road, the 1700 block of Brown Road, the 3000 block of Meadowbrook Drive, the 3000 block of Washington Road, the 3100 block of Skinner Mill Road, the 2700 block of Standish Place, the 2500 block of Corbin Place, the 2300 block of Winston Way, the 2800 block of Washington Road, and the 1800 block of Belmont Avenue. We've had 53 burglaries around the CSRA on the 1900 block of Wrightsboro Road, the 1900 block of Pond Hollow Drive, the 3800 block of the Mike Paget Highway, the 3000 block of Thornhill Drive, the 3500 block of the Walton Way Extension, the 800 block of Ann Street, the 2300 block of Redwood Drive, the 1300 block of 13th Street, the 3000 block of Georgia Road, the 2900 block of DeHall Drive, the 2500 block of Peach Orchard Road, one on Curry Street, the 2500 block of Tara Heights Court, the 2400 block of Amsterdam Drive, the 3700 block of Bel Air Road, the 2400 block of Sumac Drive, the 2600 block of Kelly Street, the 800 block of Spruce Street, the 1100 block of Helpsome and McBeam Road, the 2400 block of Sedgefield Drive, the 2100 block of Stevens Road, the 5000 block of Old Waynesboro Road, the 1000 block of Helpsome and McBeam Road, the 2600 block of Audubon Place, the 1000 block of Hickman Road, the 1800 block of Vernon Drive, the 2900 block of Milledgeville Road, the 3600 block of London Boulevard, the 1600 block of Berkeley Street, the 2600 block of Carrington Drive, the 2700 block of Farrington Drive, the 2200 block of Nettle Drive, the 2900 block of Deansbridge Road, the 2600 block of Drayton Drive, the 4300 block of Creekview Drive, the 3100 block of Alpine Road, the 4100 block of Mark Walter Road, the 2500 block of East Kensington Drive, the 2100 block of the Gordon Highway, the 2400 block of Baywood Drive, the 500 block of Bowler Avenue, the 2600 block of Dublin Drive, the 2500 block of Jabine Road, the 3800 block of Wrightsboro Road, the 3200 block of Wrightsboro Road, the 1300 block of Marks Church Road, the 2500 block of Hilton Court, the 2200 block of Hillis Road, the 800 block of Millage Road, the 2800 block of Thomas Lane, the 3400 block of Jabbart Court, and the 1200 block of Long Point Drive. We've had 6 robberies around the CSRA. They took place at the 2000 block of Taylor's Lane, the 1700 block of Champaign Avenue, the 1800 block of Highland Avenue, Curry Street, the 3000 block of Deansbridge Road, and on Wrightsboro Road. 2 charges of damage to property on the 3900 block of Barlow Road and the 1900 block of Roy's Lane. We've had 2 charges of reckless conduct on the 3000 block of Parish Road and on the Bobby Jones Expressway. We've had 1 drug arrest on the 2300 block of Wrightsboro Road, 1 charge of larceny on the 2500 block of Georgetown Drive, and 1 charge of arson on the 2300 block of Wrightsboro Road. If you know anything about these crimes or any other crimes, call our toll-free tip line at 1-800-222-TIPS or email your tip to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you may remain anonymous and may get a cash reward.
Captain Steve Morris of the Columbia County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help to find who or where this black male is. This black male is accused of using a stolen credit card at the Evans Target and the Augusta Best Buy. The card was stolen from an Appling man while his car was parked at the Evans Fitness Club on September 3rd, and they were almost immediately used throughout town. Other items stolen from the car were $200 in cash, a $600 iPad, and his wallet. Know who he is? Please call the Columbia County Sheriff's Office at 706-541-2800 or 1-800-222-TIPS, or email your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you can remain anonymous and get paid cash. The Richmond County Sheriff's Office reports that on the morning of September 16th at 11:25, an unknown black male entered the Georgia Chiropractic office located at 3029 Deansbridge Road, produced a handgun, and demanded money. The suspect received an unknown amount of cash and fled the scene. He was last seen running east across Deansbridge Road towards Lyman Street. The black male armed robber is described as 5'11", 160 pounds, with a short fro and scruffy facial hair. He was wearing a dark blue Dickies-style pants, a white t-shirt, and a ball cap. He was armed with an unknown type of handgun. No one was injured. If you think you know who or where this 5'11", 160-pound, short fro with scruffy facial hair black male is, please call Lieutenant Calvin Chu at 706-821-1028, or call Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS, or email your tips to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org, where you can remain anonymous and get paid. On Tuesday, July 9th at 1300 hours, deputies responded to 1812 Sherrill Drive in regards to a home invasion. Upon arrival, it was learned that 3 unidentified black males entered the residence by forcing their way into the front door. You'll remember Crime Stoppers showed you a very simple tip on how to take a threshold and screw it into the faceplate so that whenever your door bolts into the side of your door, it's very hard to kick in your door or force open your door, just like this home invasion happened. Once inside, 2 of the 3 suspects ransacked the residence, while the 3rd suspect held the residence at gunpoint. The suspects were last seen fleeing the scene, traveling in a golden-colored Dodge Stratus with tinted windows and numerous items from the residence. The suspects are described as 1 black male who is 5'8", about 150 pounds, had a white t-shirt and khaki shorts with a white t-shirt wrapped over his face, brandishing an automatic handgun. The 2nd suspect was a black male with a large frame, wearing black shorts with a khaki buttoned-up shirt and a white shirt wrapped around his face, brandishing an automatic handgun. The 3rd suspect was a black male who was about 5'9" and 160 pounds, wearing a type of polo shirt, turquoise in color, with white stripes, blue jean shorts, and blue and white tennis shoes, and a white shirt wrapped around his face, brandishing an automatic handgun. There were no reports of injuries, although the family was traumatized and their piece has been stolen. Sheriff's investigators are currently investigating this incident. Further details involving this investigation may be seen by going to Facebook and searching for AugustaCrimeStoppers.org or Crime Reports and Rewards. If you think you know how police may find these home invaders, please call Sergeant Shane McDaniel at 706-821-1003. If you want cash, text or email your tip to tips@AugustaCrimeStoppers.org or text or call to 803-441-UP-HIGH, where you'll always remain anonymous. The rewards are up high, and you tell Crime Stoppers where to stack your cash. Now for an update on this home invasion. Augusta Crime Stoppers sent an eyewitness to the Richmond County Sheriff's Office to draw the faces of the 3 youths who home invaded this grandmother and her grandchildren. We have not heard back from the police or the eyewitness yet. Due to Augusta's rapidly growing home invasion and burglary trend, Augusta Crime Stoppers is offering for a limited time to any home invasion victim a free metal anti-home invasion strike plate. Laura Warren of News 12 wants to interview you while we install it. If you have been the victim of a home invasion, metal is installed where your door latches into the strike plate so your door bolt goes into the metal instead of wood. A normal door jamb is thin, soft wood that will not stand up to someone kicking it, so most homes in the area have less than 2 seconds to defend against anyone kicking their door. A metal strike plate allows you precious time to make your escape and call the cops while the home invaders stay busy trying to kick in your door. Augusta Crime Stoppers spoke with the grandmother of the 3 grandchildren after they were forced to lay on the floor while her house was robbed. She tells Crime Stoppers she's trying to flee the county and has not slept in that house since the home invasion. Here are some unsolved murders police need your help solving. 22-year-old Shanta White was gut shot and left to bleed to death while talking on a cell phone in front of her home on Raleigh Drive. Her unborn baby died with her June 1st. 41-year-old Tyrone Parrish was shot in his home on Exuma Drive, December 23rd. In 2008, 79-year-old Robert Lee Smith was found beaten to death in the backyard of his Kent Street home, November 21st. In 2006, 48-year-old Deborah Fortunato Deal was reported missing from her home on Woodbine Road, April 25th. Police investigated the case as murder, with her husband John being the prime suspect. Then 46-year-old Robert Lee Dorsey was found stabbed several times at his Deansbridge Road apartment September 18th. In 2005, 31-year-old Steve Martin and 29-year-old Michael Anthony Bogans were chased down in the parking lot and both shot in the chest after a fight at Gunther's Lounge on Martin Luther King Boulevard, November 12th. In 2003, 16-year-old Renardo Newton was shot a block from his home on Old Savannah Road hours after a fight with a group of people. Police said the unsolved shooting death of 17-year-old Jasmine Hollins was in retaliation for Newton's death May 12th. In 2001, 21-year-old Sam Lewis was shot in the chest at his apartment on Skinner Mill Road. Neighbors saw men in ski masks leaving the scene of the murder July 1st. 17-year-old Nancy Cushman and 19-year-old Angela Brooks were shot execution style at Twig Street and Laney Walker Boulevard, November 25th. 16-year-old Kyle Austin Royal was shot in the back of the head as the car he was in raced from Club Magic, an illegal teen club on Mike Padgett Highway, January 16th. A .45 caliber automatic rifle fired the round that killed Royal, but investigators found several calibers of shell casings littering the parking lot, which may indicate the shooting was gang-related. 23-year-old Angelo Quinn Daggett was shot outside River Glen Apartments on East Telfair Street, May 14th. 25-year-old Travis Daniel Moore, a much-loved young white male, was shot outside his home on Old Louisville Road, May 26th. Now, a small caliber revolver has been rumored to have been found near the murder scene. 27-year-old Antonio Daniel Willis was shot in the neck in an attempted armed robbery at his Sunset Villa apartment on S.E. McIntyre Boulevard, December 2nd. 53-year-old Yang Kim Han was locking J.C. Food Store on Golden Camp Road when a robber shot him in the chest August 15th. 36-year-old mentally disabled Brian Keith Cook was found strangled in his apartment at Olmsted Homes, November 17th. 47-year-old Ronald Irvin was shot at his home on Naples Drive, December 13th. 52-year-old Teresa Leah McElderry's body was discovered dumped on Brett Phillips Drive after likely being murdered somewhere else September 11th. In 2011, 25-year-old Franklin Lilo Smith was found on Portland Street in Hepzibah with a gunshot wound to the lower back February 5th. 19-year-old Katrina Beatrice Evans was found in her Amsterdam Drive apartment 5 days after being stabbed several times August 25th, leaving behind her 13-month-old child who was still clutching her mother when found. 27-year-old William Carter was shot during a home invasion in his home on Audubon Place, October 19th. 52-year-old Holland Kinsey was found dead in his Rhodes Drive home after being strangled and slashed with a knife October 25th. A neighbor, 24-year-old Anthony Betts, died a few hours earlier when he crashed Kinsey's car into a utility pole on 8th Street while running from the cops. 20-year-old LaRicky Lee Sanders was shot in front of his home on Calvary Road September 11th. Witnesses reported the shooting happened after Sanders argued with a man in a 90s model four-door sedan. 20-year-old Corey Reed Garnett was shot several times at his apartment on Damascus Road September 11th. 31-year-old LaWanda Person Tanksley was strangled in a vacant house on Datnack Street May 15th. 15-year-old Larry Drayton ran from the back of his Bahama Drive apartment and collapsed after witnesses say they heard gunfire September 21st. 23-year-old Terrell Keenan Calloway was shot at Golden Camp and Hawthorne Roads December 7th. In 2002, 27-year-old Aldraco O'Neill Booker was shot during a home invasion at his Southgate Drive apartment December 14th. That shooting was believed to have been gang-related. In 2000, a black male who looked to be in his late teens to early 20s was found shot in the head behind Golden Harvest Food Bank's warehouse February 6th. 36-year-old Lawrence Russell Moore was shot in an empty lot on S.E. McIntyre Boulevard November 20th. 28-year-old Isaiah Randolph Selman was found beaten, bound, and burned in a field off Old McDuffie Road July 10th. Police suspect the killing may have been drug-related. 18-year-old Natalie Clark was found face down after being suffocated in her backyard in Hephzibah October 18th. In 2010, 17-year-old Jasmine Bianca Hollins was shot when gunmen sprayed a house on 11th Street with bullets April 30th. In 2004, 82-year-old Manuel Penchova was robbed and stabbed several times at his front door on Milledgeville Road February 25th. 19-year-old Kayla Marie Wells and 20-year-old Jeremy Anthony Hammonds were found shot to death on a trail near Glen Hills Drive, July 5th. 27-year-old Anthony Michael Edwards was shot in a robbery attempt in the Winn-Dixie parking lot on Gordon Highway, December 15th. In 2009, 47-year-old David Brent Dunaway was found under the Riverwatch Bridge after being beaten to death March 10th.
If you think you know where investigators can find any of these murderers, call our toll-free tip line at 1-800-222-TIPS, where you can remain anonymous and may get a cash reward. I'm Dave Michaels with this Crime Reports and Rewards special report. We've had another mass shooting. It took place in a gun-free zone, inside a gun-free zone. Washington, where they disarmed victims, and the Naval Yard, which is a gun-free zone. Only the MPs are allowed to carry guns. Yet Aaron Alexis was able to get his gun inside. Now the gun grabbers are using this as an excuse to take our guns, but what they should do is look at the shooter. What do we know about Aaron Alexis?
Yesterday morning, Aaron Alexis walked into Washington's Navy Yard, opened fire, and killed 12 people, injuring 8. None of the victims were military personnel. There were varying reports about multiple shooters, but after the day-long confusion, authorities finally arrived at the conclusion that it had only been one shooter. It's a tragic loss of 12 lives, but of course, all the focus is on Aaron Alexis and why he did it. Though old friends of his say he was a good guy and seemingly incapable of such an act, Alexis did have a history of violent behavior. In Seattle, 2004, he was arrested for shooting out another man's tires in what was described as an anger-fueled blackout, his father pointing out that Alexis was suffering PTSD after 9/11. In 2008, he was briefly jailed for disturbing the peace, and in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas in 2010, he was arrested again for discharging a gun in public, for which he was never charged. In 2011, he was discharged from the Navy for a pattern of misconduct. Not too long after that, he was hired as an IT contractor and given security clearance. Obviously, there are questions about security given that Alexis was able to get past them with so many weapons, but even more obvious is the fact that he should have never had security clearance in the first place. There are also questions about him being able to purchase guns legally after his priors, but he did, and of course his motive will continue to be picked apart.
We also know he had deep psychological problems. He was taking psychotropic drugs. He played violent video games, sometimes up to 8, 9, 10 hours a day. All the makings of a mass shooter. Now the gun grabbers are getting ready to do another round of trying to grab our guns, But does concealed carry really help? Here's Griff Griffin.
Yes, concealed carriers have stopped mass shootings. For whatever bizarre reason, gun control proponents enjoy periodically trotting out the claim that concealed carriers have never stopped a mass shooting incident. The claim is, of course, a bald-faced lie, and the most recent proof of that being the Clackamas, Oregon mall shooting in December, where concealed carrier Nick Melly drew his weapon when he encountered the mass shooter. Melly did not fire his .40 caliber Smith & Wesson Glock 22, even though he had the shooter's head lined up in his sights as the shooter worked to clear his jammed weapon. Instead, and contrary to the oft-stated hysteria of how gun grabbers assert concealed carriers would act in such a situation, Melly decided not to immediately fire, fearing that he might hit an innocent bystander. Instead, he moved to get into a better position. It's believed that the mall shooter glanced up and saw Melly moving to cover as he brought his weapon back into action. Fearing that he was about to be taken, he instead chose to use his next bullet to commit suicide. Melly's actions are mentioned as one of 9 potential mass shootings cut short by a concealed carrier in a surprisingly popular BuzzFeed post circulating now, which seems to have been culled from lists previously circulating around the internet, some featuring as few as 4 incidents, some feature as many as 15. Anti-gun Democrats, of course, seek to dispute these successful stops by applying absurd qualifiers about who really counts as a concealed carrier. They exclude off-duty cops, military veterans, or assert that shootings were over because the shooter was taken down as he moved from one target to another. For the seriously dishonest, it's all about maintaining the narrative, no matter how devious they must be to maintain it. In the end, we know the truth. The majority of mass shootings end when the shooter is taken down by someone with a gun, just like happened in D.C. Or they see someone with a gun maneuvering on their position and then commit suicide to avoid being taken alive. It doesn't matter to the prospective mass shooter if the good guy with a gun has a badge and arrives 10 minutes late, or if he's a concealed carrier who happens to be on the scene before he can empty the first magazine at innocent victims. Just that a good guy has a gun and that his uncontested rampage is over. Good guys with weapons are the only thing that stops bad guys with weapons. That dynamic will never change.
You've been watching Crime Reports and Rewards with Griff Griffin and Dave Michaels, where you stay anonymous. The criminals don't. If you have any information on these or any other crimes, call our national tip line at 1-800-222-TIPS. Well, you'll stay anonymous and could get a cash reward. You can see this or any other episode of Crime Reports and Rewards on the web anytime at crimereportsandrewards.com. Crime Reports and Rewards is a production of Michaels Media.